Africa is on the verge of a tech boom as its population urbanizes and spending increases. Consumer spending in Africa is estimated to exceed $2 trillion by 2020, $400 billion of it already occurring in Nigeria. This has resulted in a series of startups aimed towards Nigeria, which have attracted a huge amount of venture capital. Joining us now is Jake Bright. He's contributor to Fortune magazine and Whitehead Fellow of Foreign Policy Association. Jake, you have been writing a lot about this recently. Yeah. And when we look at Nigeria, I was a little surprised by this because I keep hearing about Kenya and the internet revolution, and even Rwanda a little bit. So why is Nigeria sort of all of a sudden sort of getting on the radar here?
The reason why Nigeria is getting on the radar is it has a startup movement that's much more aligned with the Silicon Valley startups, venture capital, solving business problems with solutions, kind of startup environment that is more familiar to people in a business type setting.
Okay, and so what, where is the money coming from? Is it largely U.S. based? Is it China based? And what type of technology are they developing?
The money is coming primarily from U.S. and European venture capital firms. And one of the things we tracked with the story was this race for e-commerce in Africa, primarily led by two startups, Jumia and Conga. And then there's another niche startup called Mall for Africa. They are getting, I think I tracked around $300 million from venture capital funds in the U.S. and Europe.
Talk to me about the Mall for Africa. It's an e-commerce startup. What does it do?
Mall for Africa is unique in that it allows Nigerians to go as partnerships.
We have some video of it right here, basically.
Partnerships with U.S. retailers, and the two Nigerian brothers who are working here in the U.S., Chris and Tope Folayan. And what it allows Nigerians to do is to go in and buy anything from a partner site. So they can buy things from Bloomingdale's, they can buy things from Best Buy. And what Mall for Africa does with its model is it takes care of everything on the back end of it. It takes care of the cash, the exchange, and also the shipping.
I imagine investors are looking at Alibaba out of China and saying, okay, we need to be getting into something in Africa, which is the world's fastest growing economies as a whole.
Yeah, I think people are watching this race between Conga and Jumia in particular are more kind of the Alibaba Amazon race because they're going for e-commerce scale, where Mall for Africa is more niche to very wealthy Nigerians and also buying, high-end products.
Let me ask you about that because you talk about wealthy Nigerians, but the per capita income for Nigerians is still on the rather low end of the scale. While it's the largest economy in Africa, per capita is not. How much is that going to impact and concern investors?
Well, I think with Conga and Jumia, it's about scale. And I was a little surprised in that I spent time in Nigeria, I interviewed the CEOs, and I thought that a lot of the things that they would be selling at scale were things that are hard to get in Africa, like smartphones or computers. But they told me, Jumia's CEO told me that they were selling volume in T-shirts, in rice, in things that you would think that you would just go to the regular market. So, I think scale is the buzzword in tech, right? And I think the bet with Conga and Jumia in particular is that with Nigeria, the population, with the size of the economy, it's not the largest economy in Africa. If somebody can get this right, and it's very challenging, these guys are having to pretty much operate and invent e-commerce as they go. But whoever can scale that to a Nigerian market, whether it's middle class or upper class, has real revenue potential.
We have about 30 seconds left, and I have to ask you the potential impact on the election coming up, an election already delayed. What are the ramifications to all of this if there's political fallout?
Well, I think for any of these startups, they're dealing with buying things in dollars. And, any instability is further depreciating the Nigerian naira, which has impact for businesses, which is not going to be favorable to the startup heads that are trying to do great things in Nigeria.
Okay, Jake Bright, thank you as always.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, come back soon. Ahead, what one man did to claim police brutality makes him our favorite person of the day. Stay with us.